Hey there, this is Damien Brown at Data Runs Deep, and here we go with part two of the quick tour of the Google Analytics interface. Now, menus, menus, menus. This is all the stuff down the left-hand side. You can see that it's split down to audience, advertising, traffic sources, content, and conversions. And this is kind of all about the workflow, I guess, and the kind of way that Google's encouraging us as marketers to kind of like have a look and see what's see what it's all about, see what's actually happening on our sites, and understanding the workflow and the click stream and how users are accessing content and how that's sort of running through to that ultimate kind of endpoint, the conversions that's there here. So audience is kind of some basic stuff really that tells you about what people are doing on the site. Demographics, it breaks down. I can see the language of people that are using that are accessing the content. I actually mentioned this in passing at the end of the first one if you were watching that one. If you didn't, I recommend you do. But I can see the location as well, so this is a really kind of nice like a global map that tells me where my audience is coming from, and if I wish I could drill down right the way through into individual countries and just kind of see to a pretty good kind of like city level exactly where people are coming from. So very kind of like useful information right the way off the top of that. Behavior brings in stuff like new versus returning and frequency versus recency. We'll cover that a bit later on, but it's all about like how users are kind of interacting with what you've got on your website and how good the experience is for them. So some really kind of nice ways of getting some optimization tips up through there as well. The technology, looking at browser and OS and network, so that's kind of mostly useful, I guess, for kind of sort of fixing up problems. Like if you kind of say, hang on, our stuff isn't displaying right in Internet Explorer 6, and you say, oh, hang on a sec, I don't think anyone's using Internet Explorer 6 anymore. This is where the information, you look at that and that'll tell you what's going on. And there are some people using Internet Explorer accessing my modest little websites, and there's one guy in the last 3 months, or gal, who's using Internet Explorer 6. So there you go for that one person. We do need to kind of cater to everybody. So this is telling you, yep, it's still a problem for 1.15% of people hitting my modest little site. Mobile is kind of useful too. Lets me know whether people are accessing content on a mobile device. So mobile no, mobile yes, and I can even then have a look and see what the devices are. And it will even give me a little picture if I've forgotten what an iPhone looks like because I haven't been in a meeting for an hour and a half and I haven't seen them on the desk all the time. So you can see the devices people are coming and looking at as well. One thing to actually kind of pay attention to on this is the difference of this, like the percentage of yes mobile to no mobile, and when you're going to see more people on mobile devices on sites than not on mobile devices. It's going to vary, of course, by your industry. But personally, I'm picking the middle of 2013 for mobile yes to overtake mobile no. Custom and visitors flow. Well, I want to talk more about those later on, but let's just have a quick look and just sort of see how scary visitors flow looks. Wouldn't it be great if I could make it kind of all bounce up? So there you go. It just looks like some sort of alien tentacles and tendrils running through. In a separate video, I'll cover how we can use that to understand what's going on and what people are actually doing and behaving with on our site. Advertising breaks down through into AdWords. If you're running AdWords stuff, I think I was running an AdWords campaign when this was going on. Yeah, very modest. I don't like to spend too much on AdWords, just to get a very good kind of keyword search based on this. Google Analytics Training Melbourne. So very kind of like nicely refined kind of keyword search. I only kind of like get the good people kind of coming through, and you can see there are 4 visits that came through. But you can get out some of the data that's come through from your AdWords campaign as well. So I can see the keywords which has come up, other stuff that comes through as well. So day parts, so I can see the hour of the day when people are clicking on the ads. All stuff that's if you know where to get it from your AdWords, then it's there. But here it is in analytics. I don't have to go looking for it. Isn't that great? It is great, thank you. Traffic sources is where you will spend a hell of a lot of time messing around. This is where I kind of mostly do loads and loads of work in between traffic sources and content, I guess. So get used to these guys because they will be your wonderful friends. And then the overview, you can see 66% search traffic, 10.7% referral, 20.29% direct, and 2.88% campaigns. I'm going to cover this in a more in-depth one, should you wish to have a look at this later on. But you're basically looking at all of your individual types of sources here. Search, of course, breaking down into organic and paid search. Search engine optimization pulls in stuff from Web Analytics. That's what we're looking at now. Webmaster Tools. That's what we're not looking at now. That's where it gets the data from. And again, I'll cover that in a subsequent video. And then social, which is a fairly kind of newish area for Google Analytics. They're changing this all the time. So in fact, I bet you that by the time you're looking at this video, this part of the menu has changed totally. So rather than to save more embarrassment, I'm just going to close that drawer. Move on to the next one. And this is content, so you have your content overview. Again, you know, I like the way that all of these, every single one, so traffic sources, advertising, doesn't actually, audience does, they all kind of start you off with an overview, so you kind of like looking at things from the very, very top, which is a great way of saying, right, here's what's going on, what am I going to do with this information? So you can see here that, you know, we've got some actual kind of like page view metrics and sort of clickstream stuff, which isn't terribly insightful, not terribly interesting, but it's kind of dropping me into sort of some more interesting stuff here, like, you know, site search. If, for example, I want to kind of jump in and see what people are searching on the site, or having a look at the you know, the popular pages. Left-hand menu, as I've said in previously, this is where you want to be kind of like mostly doing your navigation. So the all pages, again, you know, way more about this to come if anyone's interested, and I hope you are. But I can see right here what the most popular pages on my website are, and to kind of say, hey, isn't this great? All these people are looking at all these little pages on here. Landing pages is, as the name suggests, where people are arriving, and exit pages is where they're leaving. So I can, again, you know, have a look at some sort of optimization bits on that and say, hang on a sec, I've got lots of these people, you know, everyone who, you know, 34 people, which is a fair old chunk out of my, you know, 626, you know, modest traffic and stuff, but maybe I want to sort of have a look at how this page can be a bit more useful so that people don't leave. Please don't leave me, please come back. That's what your website always wants to be saying, okay? It's like a forever alone. You always have to think of your website as being constantly needy as far as people are concerned. Site speed is a, you know, big deal for Google. They're really kind of pushing this lately, and you only get a certain number of you know, samples on this, just to sort of test how things are and how it looks for different browsers. Pretty bad that Chrome's popped up with that, but I don't really understand the factors that can be affecting all of this. I've got fairly cheap hosting on this blog, so maybe that's what's doing it, but it's not something which I care to obsess about myself personally too much. Site search, if you have it enabled, that's where your information will come up on here. Events is stuff that can't be tracked, so things like somebody viewing a PDF document or watching a video. None of that is happening on my blog. I'll be looking more about kind of event tracking, and particularly structuring conversions around events as well. So that's kind of where things get particularly useful. Where I wanted to go to anyway, conversions we'll be looking at in the third of these videos, so isn't that great? Thank you very much. I'm Damien, and if you want more of this, you can head over to datarunsdeep.com. Thanks.